Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my February TBR. I'm going to be doing something a little different for picking my books this month. As all of you hopefully know, February is Black History Month, and I thought it would be really fun and cool because I am trying to not only make myself read different genres than I usually read, but I'm also trying to read more diverse books and books that have more diverse characters, because I feel like unfortunately a lot of the books that are popular on Book Talk and that honestly just unfortunately majority of the books that I usually see are more predominantly white authors as well as white characters. So I thought a fun thing that I could do to help myself read more diverse books but still stick to the romance genre was to read only Black authors for the month of February in celebration of Black History Month. So I had a few already that I wanted to read, and then I did some research of different book talkers, booktubers, all of that I watch who have recommended different Black authors. So I have, I think, 6, but some of them have multiple within it because it's a series where the author has multiple. But I have 6 different authors that I want to read from this month. I have read a lot in January, spoiler alert for the next video, which is my January reading wrap up. So I have hope that maybe I can read a lot in February, but unfortunately February is also a shorter month. So we'll see how much of it I can get through. But I thought it would be, like I said, a fun way to try to get myself to read more diverse authors as well as diverse characters, but also a way to celebrate Black History Month. Okay, so the first books that I have, I'm sure are gonna be no surprise to anyone if you've watched any of my videos, but that is the Grip Trilogy by Kennedy Ryan. So we have Flow. This is the first book. It's very, very short, but I don't want to say it's a novella, but I think it's kind of like a novella to get you into the series. And then you actually have Grip, which is the first full-length book, and then you have Still, which is the last full-length book. So I really wanted to read these because I loved Kennedy Ryan's Hoops series, and so I thought that reading these would kind of cure my little slump that I have. And you meet these characters in the last book in the Hoops series. I was trying to say trilogy and series at the same time. You meet these characters in the last book of the Hoops trilogy, so I thought that it would be really cool to read this because I've kind of already met them, and also I've heard literally nothing but good things about this series, so I am very excited about it. And I want to get through all 3 of them, but if I can get through 2 at least, that will make me happy, because I know the first one will be I will get through the first one, there's no doubt in my mind. But the second one and the third one are more normal length books, so if I decide that I want to try to read other authors and not just Kennedy Ryan, depending on my time schedule, I may only read 2, but I would love to read all 3 this month. That would be my goal. But the first books that I have on my TBR is The Grip Trilogy by Kennedy Ryan. Okay, so the next book that I have is actually not a romance. It is a work of just regular fiction, but also it's kind of supposed to not feel like fiction. It's kind of supposed to feel like a real story, like a real life story, but it isn't. And that is called Do Not Cry For Me by Daniel Black. And basically it is about a guy whose father is dying. The guy happens to be gay, and so his dad, who is dying, is trying to make amends with him through letters. It looks like it will be really sad, and I know it says don't cry for me, but I fear I will probably be crying. I don't know if I can listen to what the title says because it looks like this is going to be really, really brutal to read. But I've had it for a really long time and I really, really want to read it, so I will hopefully get to it. It's only about 300 pages, so it's not too long. I feel like I can probably do it. It's just gonna be, can I get myself to read a book that's not romance, and specifically a book that is going to probably crush me and be like, wow, that was really hard to read, because I can only imagine what this father is going to say to his son to make amends that is going to probably crush my soul into a million pieces. Because I'm pretty sure the author wrote this when his dad was dying, so he kind of had that I don't know how to explain it. He had the perspective of being the kid whose dad is dying, but he also was watching a dad die, so he kind of also has that perspective. So I feel like it's really just going to hit me like a truck, and I'm not sure I'm ready, but I really do want to read it, especially because I've had it forever and I've been wanting to read it forever. So I feel like now is the perfect time to read it. So Okay, so the next book I do not have a physical copy of, I will be reading on Kindle Unlimited, is In This Moment. I saw maybe 2 or 3 people talk about it on TikTok. That's about all I've seen. But those, oh, okay, well, apparently language is not gonna work for me today, so let's restart that. Those 2 to 3 TikTokers that I saw talk about it, they all seemed to really enjoy the book, and I liked the plot line. I thought it was interesting. And like I said, I am kind of someone who likes to go into books not knowing a whole lot, so I just kind of try to get the general gist of it. But it sounds interesting, and it's an author that I've never read before, so I think that that is also really exciting for me, is always trying new authors. Obviously, when you really like an author, like, it's exciting to keep reading their stuff, but I am someone who really does like discovering, like, oh my god, I love this author, or even realizing, okay, this author isn't for me, but like I can see why people like it, you know, that type of feeling is also really nice. But like I said, I saw a few people talk about it, I thought it was interesting, and so I decided to put it on my TBR. It is thankfully in Kindle Unlimited, so I don't have to buy the physical copy, because I'm trying not to buy them unless I've read them. So obviously if I read it and I like it, you guys know I'll buy it, but I'm gonna try to do more reading before buying. But yeah, that is the 3rd book that I have on my TBR. The next book is Dear Amelia by Asia Monique. So I have actually seen a lot of people talk about this recently. I know part of it is algorithm stuff, because like I had looked up some of the booktubers and book talkers and things like that that are Black that I follow, trying to see if they had like recommendations before just kind of randomly typing it into a search bar. And this is one of the ones that like all of them recommended and that I was seeing more people talk about. So I definitely think this one will be one that I will enjoy. I don't think I've read anything by this author before. Her name kind of sounds familiar, but I don't think I've actually read anything, but I may have seen other things by her. But I am very excited. I think that this book is going to be really, really good. I think it might actually be, when I pick up my Kindle to read the first book on Kindle Unlimited, I think it might be the first one I read. I don't know. I'm just very intrigued by it, so I'm excited to see what it is all about. So next 2 books I also don't have physical copies of right now. I actually donated them so that I can get new copies because my copies were damaged. But that is Legendborn and Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. So I have read these before. It is my siblings' like favorite series. They got me into reading it, and it is, let me tell you, it is a whirlwind. It is a YA kind of like fantasy series, and there's some romance sprinkled in there. So if you guys like that, but you maybe want something a little bit more fantasy focused and less romance focused, but also still having some romance, I feel like it's a pretty good series for that. Obviously, there's only 2 books out right now. I think it's gonna have 4. So I can't necessarily say that it'll stay that way for the 3rd and 4th, but for the 1st and 2nd, there is still a lot of focus on the main character and her journey, as well as like her side characters and everything. But the romance isn't like the main plot, but it is there. So if you still want that, it is there. But I do have them on Audible, so I am thinking about re-listening to them before the 3rd book, Oathbound, comes out in, I think, March. But again, listening to books is a lot harder to do than reading them, because like when I go to bed at night and I can just read a bunch, versus if I'm just laying there listening, like I will fall asleep if I'm just straight up listening. So I don't know if I will have the time to get through all of them. But I would kind of like to reread it. If I feel like I only have time for one, I might only reread Bloodmarked because it's just right before Oathbound, but I don't know. I would like to get them in. And if I do, it will be on Audible because they are not on Kindle Unlimited for some reason. If they come out on Kindle Unlimited during the month, that would be great, but they're currently not. So that will be a Audible listen to read. That was not what I wanted to say, but whatever. That is the 5th? Yeah, that is the 5th book on my TBR. Okay, and our last book on my TBR is called All I've Wanted, All I've Needed, I'm pretty sure. It is by A.E. Valdez. If that's wrong, I'm sorry. It will be like here or here, so you can see the author, but I'm pretty sure that's what the author's name was. I don't have the thing with me, so I can't exactly see. I like wrote them down on a Google Doc. But I, again, saw a bunch of people raving about like this book, and I'm pretty sure it's a series, if I remember correctly. And people were just talking about that they really liked it. So I put the first one on to try because obviously, like, I don't know if I'll like it or not. I feel like usually it's really hard for me to not like kind of romance books. Usually I'm just more like, oh, like, it was okay. Like, there have been very few romance books that I've read where I'm like, yeah, I didn't really like that. That was kind of bad. Or like, oh, I didn't like that. I was really bored. So I'm not like too worried about not liking any of these books. Okay guys, so those are the books that I plan on reading for February, and that is my video for today. I know that I said like 6 books, but like technically some of them had more, but like I just more mean like those are the 6 authors with their books that I'm correlating with. But I hope that you guys are all having a great end of your January. I hope that you guys are excited for February. I know I am, especially because January has felt like it has been going by like so fast, but also so extremely slow at the same time. It's a little mind-boggling. I feel like it should already be February, and I'm like, what do you mean it's still like days until February? I don't understand. But yeah, I hope you guys are all having a great day and you guys are all doing well, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!